guys, James Bespoke here, and you're probably wondering why I'm hiding in the corner of the shop. And it's because I got my hands on something pretty early compared to, other reviewers out there. It's only the new device from Torc Precision. Hi guys, James Bespoke here. Sorry for that silly intro. I know I'm losing the plot in lockdown. But today we're talking about the new device from Torc Precision. Now you may have seen this, you may have not. If you are unaware of who Torc Precision is, they made the SFDI, which was this very cool device that I reviewed quite a while ago now. You see it's in the trigger pouch here. It was really fast and easy to deploy. When coupled with the ACS trigger pouch, it sits in place like this. Obviously, as you pull the trigger pouch out, it pulls the pin from the device, and then as the spoon comes off, it can be triggered. Now, with this device, it was different to other distraction devices in terms of like the airsoft and the civilian market, because it had a spoon on the side, and this is because this device is predominantly made for law enforcement and police use only. And the civilian version of the SFDI came out. We obviously stocked it. I think it was one of the first, if not the first, to stock the device, as well as talk about it. It was a very cool device indeed. It was very sensitive compared to other devices, which I think I've got a video. I'll just show you if it's not popped up already. And it was very simple in the way it works. It's got a wobble top like normal. It uses these funky sort of spoons you fit on the side here, and then you have a pin that goes through. The trigger pouch that I use on my gear, I've took the pin apart and mounted it directly to the pouch, and then you basically can put this back together. It's probably not the best way to do it on the shoulder, but I'm trying to do it so you can see it. And that's loaded, ready to go. And the device was probably one of the most safest devices ever invented, and we went through that in the whole SFDI video. But this video is not about the SFDI, is it? This video is about the SFDF. Now this one, apart from the letter change there, looks a little bit different, doesn't it? So the SFDF, in terms of the dimension and everything like that, it's pretty much the same as the SFDI. But this is their new Fusion Kinetic Trigger. Now, what is the Fusion Kinetic Trigger, you may ask? Well, that's what I'm here to show you. So, the first thing I'm going to say is they've changed the spoon slightly. Now, with the SFDF, as it comes, or as it will come out the box or in a package, or as you purchase one, it will come with a green top on there. And that's to mimic what the military use. So, there's some pictures floating around of some British military forces. I don't know who they are, but they were using the SFDIs and they were using the green top, so it will come with this one. The reason I'm using the clear one is because as soon as I was giving it to myself and I saw it, I just fell in love with the clear one. It just looks so cool, and you can see all the geometry of the part when they've designed the mold to make these. So, extra features, you've got a little stop on the pin there to stop it from riding up. So you've got that, you push past that to get the pin off. You've also got an extra added pin safety where it stops on the pin. They've made the pin a little bit longer for that reason, just so if this comes off accidentally, you've got a fail-safe there to stop the pin flying off the device. Remember, this device has been literally designed from the ground up for law enforcement and military use, and these are predominantly sold in the US market. So we're getting the adjustability, not the adjustability. We're getting the benefits of all the extra, safeties and design that's gone into this device, but this is for the civilian market. So we have the pin there. They've changed the finish on this to this sort of like silvery nickel type finish compared to the old black style. We obviously pull the pin out as usual, nothing different there. The spoon comes off very much the same way. But this is where the device gets a little bit different. Now I'm just going to check it here because I can't remember if I've set this. So it is set. So this is armed, ready to go. This is ready to go off. It's got nothing in there, obviously. And the pin, the wobble top, doesn't move. Interesting. So with the normal wobble top, it has to have the inertia of the device hitting a hard object. As it hits the hard object, the wobble top moves. That movement pivots the firing pin system down into the primer or whatever sort of cartridge that you're using. where this one is cocked. You heard that, didn't you? So this is cocked like a firing pin. Now I know I call it firing pin, I'm probably using the wrong term, so sorry Torc Precision if I have used the wrong term there. But the device comes with a little tool. Very cool indeed. Now what we do, this tool is perfectly designed to fit that hole in the bottom there, and then you can feel the tension on the firing pin. Just push that up. We can just touch this. It allows the pin to go in all the way, and it's primed, ready to go. So you have all the added benefits of the extra safeties. The extra safeties built into the pin design, the safety of the spoon, which has changed. They've changed the geometry here a little bit to make it easier to push the pins in and out. They've really just took the design of the SFDI and just took it to a new level. Now, what benefit would you have with this device over the SFDI? Obviously, this is going to be a little bit more expensive. I think the SFDI is retailed for about £95-ish, depending on where you got them from. Hope you bought one from us. The SFDF is probably going to retail, and this is just me spitballing here, around about the 120 to 130 mark. But the applications of this device just go up tenfold with the new Kinect Fire system. Now, why the new Kinect Fire system? Like I said before, it's much more sensitive. So because it's preloaded, ready to go, so it's ready to fire. It doesn't need the inertia of the wobble top to sort of wobble over to enact the firing pin on the primer. It's ready to go. So all you're doing is you're triggering it. So slightest bit of pressure. What this means is you can make the device much more sensitive. Now, why would you do that? Let's say you're in a woodland environment where you've got grass or muddy area, or you're in an indoor sort of an indoor site where they use like something soft on the floor, where you know the normal impact grenades, TRMRs, Tectonics, Quake, all the ones that were absolutely pants, and the SFDI, of course, being the best one in our opinion. Now you can throw it onto a soft surface and it will go off. But they haven't stopped there. They've also made the ability to take this apart, so you can pull this little screw out here, you can take this apart, you can switch the spring out with springs that they supply you, and you can adjust the sensitivity of the fusion kinetic trigger. Sorry, I get that right. So the fusion kinetic trigger. So you can make this even more sensitive, you can make it less sensitive. This is an overview today, so that, I'm just trying to get all the information out there to you so you know what this thing is. I'm not going to be throwing it in this video. I might at the end, we'll see. So it's a lot more sensitive, you have a lot more versatility with it, it goes off on a lot more surfaces, so it will trump every device out there. TRMR, Tectonics, the Alpha Tech, the Dynatech, the whatever tech you want to call it, and the SFDI. This will trump every single one of them devices, guaranteed. But there's more than one application for this. Yes, you've got a soft surface, you can now throw it in an outdoor building that might have sort of a soft floor and it'll go off. Now I'm just going to say a bit of a disclaimer, if the game site that you play at allows this, because some don't and some do. The other plus side of this, let's say you're in an environment where you're in a Milsim event and they allow for this type of sort of application. You need to protect your building. You and a couple of your guys have got these. You dig a little 45mm, 50mm-ish hole in the floor if it's soft ground, and you put something on top of it. When a foot depresses, because it doesn't need to go sideways, it can go sideways or down. You've now been able to safely, and I say this with emphasis on safe, you've now been able to safely deploy an airsoft landmine that works and isn't absolute rubbish like the CO2 and gas ones out there. And they're probably, I don't think a company's released one for a long time now, but safest way to do it, cheapest way to do it. Primers like what, 7p each. So the bases are obviously a lot smaller. They will have other bases available soon, so you'll be able to use other charges like mag flash 9mm if you want to. I don't know why you would. There's also some other developments which I'm not allowed to talk to you about yet, so my lips are sealed. The third application, it just keeps getting better, doesn't it? Let's say you don't have an area where you've got soft ground where you can deploy this device and have it as like a landmine. Let's say you're in an urban environment, but the urban environment in the game that you're in allows you to use traps or trip mines or whatever like that, the proper events, the Milsim events. You put this up against, you know, a door frame or such. It comes with this pin as well. Now, predominantly this pin is designed, the sole purpose it's designed for, the guys in the US are throwing bangs that are much more detrimental to your health than what we use in the civilian market in the primers. So they're throwing some nasty stuff, and the stuff that they're throwing is a kind of munition that you would not want your hand around this when it goes off. Now, with primers, I demonstrated this long ago with the tremors. You could, with a primer in a base, wrap your hands around, you know, with a glove on, obviously, and you could hit it and it'd go off and it wouldn't damage you at all. There's just not enough pressure there. So you're in the US, or you're in law enforcement or military or whatever, or you're doing training, whatever you're doing, if you're watching this video and you're using one of these devices, let's say you've thrown a load of devices, you've done your drills, you've moved in, you've cleared the room, shot some paper targets, whatever application that you might have. The last thing you want to do is pick up a device, let's say for whatever reason it doesn't go off, the misuse, the guys, like, as they dropped it on the floor, they left a spoon on or something silly, something daft. Every device that hasn't gone off is a potential, has a potential to cause harm if the user is going to take it apart. So let's say military guy does his training, comes up to this, and they unscrew this, and for some reason they tap the top of something and it goes off, and they've got their hand around it. It can be very dangerous. Of course, they work in dangerous environments. You can't always remove every ounce of risk. So what they did is they put in this little hole here, and they give you this pin. Now let's say they're in a train, I know going over and over, I'm just trying to emphasize what this is for. Let's say they're going through a training environment, or you know, they've attacked some kind of residence where they need to subdue someone. They take this pin, they push it through the little hole there, it lines up inside the device, there's a little cavity, and now that device is 100% safe. Now I'm just going to fire this off to show you. So that's fired while I've had my hands on it, but there's no firing pin. That's because this little safety pin stops it. So if they want to make your munition safe, let's say they've aborted the throw mid deploy and they want to make this device safe, they push that little pin in. Once that pin's in, they can safely remove the munition with no risk, zero risk of it going off. Now, why is this good for airsofters? Like I said, you've got a milsim event, you've got an indoor environment where you haven't got soft ground. You could place this in a corner. You could have, you know, your tripwire or your fishing wire, whatever you use, make sure your game site allows it. You attach it to this pin. Now this is fired, remember, I fired it off. What happens when I remove this pin? The firing pin fires. So now you've got a really easy and cheap and inexpensive way to make this a trip mine. So they really have thought about everything, and for all markets as well. So this device is the next evolution of impact or distraction device, especially for the airsoft and civilian markets, but for law enforcement and police use as well. This is going to be going on retail very soon. This is just a quick overview to show you what this thing is. What you get in the box is you get the SFDF, or the SFDF as I'm starting to call it. Having come up with the acronym for the TRMR, I've got a bit of a habit of doing that, but I'm going to start calling this a SFDF and hope it catches on, because the SFDF sounds so much cooler. So you get the SFDF, you get a green spoon in the box, you get a set of, you get an extra 2 or 3 springs I think for the top, so you can set the sensitivity, you get the safety pin, you get the plunger to arm the device, and you also get the main pin as well. As well as all that, you'll have some instructions, which I do have, folded away neatly in my pocket. So here we are, there's a long list of instructions here. And what to do, it really is self-explanatory. All you've got to do is read this and you'll know everything that you need to know about the SFDF. And they'll obviously be making the spoons available separately, so you got green, you got blue, you got red, I think they did a yellow as well. They did black originally too, but I just love that clear. It's not great for finding it afterwards if you're in a dark environment, but my God, does that look cool. And let's Let's get the clear spoon here. Let's pop this on. I think I did arm it. So I've got it there. Take my ACS trigger pouch that I've already got because of my SFDI. Just pull that out there. I'm going to take the pin. I'm going to put it through the safety lever. And I've just put my SFDF in my pouch that I use for my SFDI. And this is a great device, don't get me wrong. This is the best impact device on the market until now. This is the Torc Precision SFDF, or SFDF as I'm going to call it, because I just think that sounds so much cooler. If you want to know more about this device, you can go to Torc Precision's Facebook page. You can go to their website and find out more on this device and when it's becoming available. This is the SFDF Fusion Kinetic Trigger Device. I hope you've enjoyed this video. It has been a long one. I'm sorry about that. I've just tried to get all the information out there so you know exactly what this thing is and what it does. And we'll get to some fine demonstration if we can. If not, it'll be on a follow-up video and we'll show you how sensitive this thing can be made. But I'm James at Bespoke Airsoft. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Belt is not meant to go on your shoulder. Probably putting some funny faces while I'm doing this. But yeah, so I carry mine. I use ACS mag pouches as well. It's on my belt, so it's down here on my right hand side, and I just pull it, throw it. The must-have distraction device if you're an airsoft in the UK, SFDF.